All right, so it's 10:04. What day is it? I keep looking. I keep forgetting.
I think it's the 10th today, is it not?
Yes, sir.
2020.
Yes, sir.
01102020.
My name is Justin. To my right-hand side, your left-hand side is going to be Steven over there. And then straight in front of us is going to be Eric.
Yo.
And it's the Lone Ranger versus Tonto up in this hoe.
That's it. So what's going on now?
What you want to talk about, Steven?
Oh, gosh. War has been on my mind all week.
Now it's been on your mind.
Well, Iran also, retaliated in quotes.
Sure.
They hit an empty building, gave a warning to Iraq, and then hit some buildings with some pretty determined precision. But I think that was, they weren't trying to hurt anybody. I haven't heard an official count yet, but I don't think anybody died at all in those attacks when they sent the missiles over. Have you guys heard?
No, I saw that. U.S. and Australia had both said that their people were coup. Apparently, there were Australians over there, too.
Yeah, I saw a memorial on TV in Canada last night. 15 Canadians died in that plane crash.
That plane?
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't a crash. It got shot out of the sky.
Well, that's what Justin Trudeau said last night. They're like, you got shot out of the sky.
Yeah,
and then Iran is like, nuh-uh.
There's video of that fucking plane flying, coasting down to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a fucking ball of fire.
Yeah.
You don't start fires on. You know what? That's a new plane. That plane. They said that plane was made just a few years ago.
3 years old, it said.
Those old planes were refixtured with a bunch of shit that doesn't burn. Most of that shit inside that plane does not burn. That fucking them seats, all flame retardant. The sides of the walls, all flame retardant. You know how fucking hard you'd have to try and how much stuff you'd have to bring onto the plane to get it to start on fire. Just after takeoff, get the bloody fuck out of here. It's made literally not to do that. You need high heat.
So who do you think shot it out of the sky?
Iran.
Iran.
It was right around the corner from one of their fucking
bases
that sits inside of a suburb, and its missiles were out, and it was right at the same time that they were just doing all kinds of stuff. I bet they did it on accident.
I've heard that is a possibility right now.
Possibility, my ass. That's exactly what happened. These fools, they didn't have their shit.
Horrible.
They didn't have their shit set right, and they thought everything. They were like, oh yeah, but all these other ones were landing in different places. They don't all land on the same landing strips. That landing strip happened to be right next to this other anti-air missiles that they had set up in this base in the middle of a fucking suburb. And they shot a plane out of the sky. The thing is they want to make sure that that nobody thinks it's them because of how many people were on that plane.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't really Iranian people on that plane. I mean, I'm sure there was some Iranian people, R.I.P., but R.I.P. to everybody else because there was a lot of nationalities on that plane.
170 people, I think, died, or in that range. No survivors from the crash at all.
Because it wasn't a crash. It got shot out of the... There was no survivors up top. While it was flying down, everybody's dead.
Gosh.
If you have enough heat to turn a plane into a ball of fire. That's what I'm trying to say. If you have enough heat for that,
nobody's living.
No way.
Through the heat.
No way.
Yeah, you're right. Gosh. But so yeah, war's been more on my mind because that's been continuing the story, and it does seem like the president doesn't want to go to war, at least from the tweets and what he's kind of asked for negotiations, and it doesn't seem like they want that to happen, but I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think anybody wanted to go to war. Remember we said we'd come back, and I'd be like, we won't. Because nobody wants to go to war. And those people get it. Trump don't get it, whatever, sure. But he has enough people around him that he trusts that are like, hey, that do get it.
Yeah.
And especially when you make when you do something that you think is going to be a power move, and then the entire world comes out against you. I was like, hey, you know what? That was probably a mistake. That we get it, but that wasn't the answer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then Iran retaliates by the way that these types of things tend to happen in the past. So they retaliate in a way that makes them look like strong and that they won't go. But it's pretty clear, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not actually
Right.
trying to flex. They not only did they shoot at that airbase there, but they knew that airbase. They shot it at with missiles they knew would be blown out of the sky. Like it's like, I don't know, man.
I agree. It's overtaking the news cycle now, which I think is good because the impeachment stuff I think is taking a back seat and just being frozen by what's her name, Pelosi. And so it's good to get that out of the news, not just to hear that every day talking about what's going on there, because it's just at a stalemate, it seems like right now. And then we could be talking about the Democratic primary more in the news, but that's getting better.
Talk about the Democratic primary.
Well, a lot of other people do.
Fuck them.
Fuck them. Democratic primary is important. We could beat Trump this year.
With who?
The candidate of the Democrats' choice. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, but who? Not all of them can beat Trump. So when you say that, you have something in mind. Who?
Who do I think can beat Trump?
Mm-hmm.
I think Warren can beat Trump.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that?
I actually don't know if I think she has a decent chance to beat Trump. I think that she can pull a lot of votes from the middle towards the Democrats. I think
How and when do you think she'll do that?
how and when do I think she'll pull the votes from?
Yes, hypothetically.
Well, how would she? Well, she'd have to win the nomination, right? So you're saying if she wins,
hypothetically, she wins the nomination. Where what does she do? Where and how? This is what I asked. Not what. Where and how?
Do what? Where? I'm not sure.
How does she beat Trump?
Like I said, I think she'll take a lot of the centrist vote of.
How?
There's a lot of people in this country that want somebody to vote for that just isn't Donald Trump. And I think Elizabeth Warren appeals to a broad section of people that might not be as progressive as somebody like Bernie Sanders. While Warren's policies are fairly progressive, I think she totes the line nicely of still like saying, I'm a capitalist, refusing to say that she's going to raise taxes, a lot of things that people want to hear. And I think I think she's also just a good antithesis to Trump as a woman, and like how she portrays herself as this. I'm sure she is this really strong woman. She's really into planning and logic, and I think that's a good juxtaposition against Trump, where he's kind of the opposite of those things, not so logical and more just impulsive.
Okay, but you realize that that's what got him elected once.
What got him elected once? A lot of things, I think.
Big piece is him being impulsive.
Yes.
Him being ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think they will run a very similar campaign as they did before with a lot of that stuff.
Well, why wouldn't they? It won.
Yeah.
Okay, so what makes you think that it won't win again?
Oh, I think it could. Like, I really don't know if the Democrats overall have a great chance of winning with most of the candidates up there, and Warren included in that group of they're going to have to pull in a lot of young voters anywhere. For any Democrat, it's got to pull in a lot of young voters. And I think the strategies that they use, like that they have used in the past, like with Obama's campaign, with all the outreach he did on social media and stuff, I think if they go by those same scripts, it won't work as well, which I think is the Democratic Party's plan, which is why I don't think anybody who is really siding with the party administration for the Democrats is going to have a great chance of winning, because I think they're going to try and run the same campaign they did for Hillary Clinton with some updates to, how they're working in social media. But I don't think the Democratic Party really can win with the strategies they have now, which is why I think Bernie Sanders has a better chance, because he doesn't follow the script or the playbooks of the Democratic Party, nor do they really want him involved with that. And he has his own grassroots campaign that is, setting records in donations, and people really are out there working for him and trying to get him to be president on a whole nother level that I don't think the Democratic Party can really create the same kind of grassroots support that Bernie Sanders has, because they don't they don't want to. They can't run on the same kinds of like global issues or like issues that, cross lines that, and like cross class lines as much and as easily, or not class lines. I guess it's more focused into, the class of people that don't make as, aren't making six figures. And it's more defined in those people than it is in race or any other, segment. It's just, if you don't make a ton of money in this country, if you're not part of the, whatever you want to kind of consider the middle class, if you're below that, we are working for you and trying to help these people. And I think that message of unity with those people is stronger than the message the Democratic Party is really going for, which is just, we need somebody who's going to beat Trump. And then they also want somebody who's going to protect the healthcare system as it is now and not put in Medicare for all, which I think is why the plans that have some kind of path to Medicare for all will just eventually fail. The Democrats know that. And the Democratic Party can't, like I said, they can't run on those same issues, right? Because they can't bring those groups of people together because it's not in their best interest as a party.
Yeah, I also think that they're missing the reality of today. I think policy is a very small part of why anybody votes for anybody. And everybody tries to claim like it's the most important part. But nobody knows anybody's fucking policies. Ask a real person about their candidate's policies. They fucking can't tell you anything. They don't care. People don't actually care about policies. So all that shit, which I agree, there's the different policies and who pushes what is definitely, gonna make waves in this. But in reality, Donald Trump didn't win off policy, and he's never been playing off policy, and he keeps winning. And then everybody's all mad, and everybody sits around acting like they don't know how to win. And that's why, fuck the Democrats.
Agree.
You don't know how to win? Suck a dick. Go sit over there and suck each other's dick then, because that's all you're really doing. You just sit there and you sit in these fucking mirrored boxes. All the people in the Democratic Party will tell you that whatever the fuck they said last year or last election, they said that everybody was convinced Hillary was winning. Uh-huh.
Wrong.
And they're just doing it again because they sit in mirrored boxes and they talk to each other and then they get all fucking excited and talk about stuff and then they try to enact it and then it doesn't work and then they have to take it back to the drawing board. We're going to figure it out. Obviously, you can't figure it out. Your stupid ass is worried about what other people are not worried about, which is unfortunate. Sure, I'm not saying that people should be interested in whatever the fuck they're interested versus policy. But at the same time, who follows any of their policies anyways? It's all campaign rhetoric. Right. And everybody knows that. That's half of the reason why you don't have the... Remember we were talking last week about it, and then you touched on it just now about like the poor people's vote. The broke motherfuckers in this country don't tend to vote.
Right.
You know why?
Got no reason to. Doesn't change their lives.
Well then what do you do to get their vote? Do something.
You reach out to them, and that's what I mean by the grassroots
Yeah, but they're not
support
listening to you. They're too fucking smart. The thing is, we like to act like because they're broker and a lot of times less educated as far as we would talk about school is concerned. We assume that they don't know what the fuck is going on, but in reality, they're just as smart as everybody else. There's not a lot of smarter people end up there because of the way social dynamics work. And so you got a lot of smart ass motherfuckers who know that even if they vote you in because of what you say, you're still not going to do it anyways. Yeah. So why? So you could fucking win? Fuck out of here. They're too smart for that. They're not dumb. So if you want people to vote for you, you got to start doing some of the shit you're saying or stop saying that shit. Simple. Be real.
Well, how do you do something that you're saying you're going to do, but you can't do that until you become president?
That's not always the case. Presidents always have choices. They can do things ahead of time. Everything is so strategic and so political. It's insanely gross.
Yeah. I mean, people's full jobs are to strategize campaigns for others. It's a huge strategy. And,
But we're not talking about just the campaigns. We're talking about, structuring a career to campaign next year.
Yeah.
Not worrying about,
even,
whatever's actually best for the country or whatever's best for whatever. What's best for me getting reelected in 4 years?
Absolutely.
What's best for me getting reelected in 2 years? What's best for me to get reelected in 8 years? Like this goofy game that's played. It's just
politics.
But it's not politics. It's a popularity contest.
That is what politics is.
Well, politics can actually have benefits. But the popularity contests don't, because they don't tell you anything. They just tell you who's most popular, who's the cool kids, and that's it. So, and that's why people are like, "Oh, you hate Donald Trump because of this or that," and it's like, well, you just think he's one of the cool kids.
Yeah,
that's all. He's just on your team.
Yep,
like
absolutely.
There's no other reason for it, and it's like, man, that's the same with everybody.
It's true.
And fuck Barack Obama for fucking signing against the Dakota Access Pipeline a month before he knew Donald Trump was gonna run in there and fucking undo it. You could have done that shit like 9-10 months in advance, and it would have been way fucking harder for them to do some shit. And you knew it, but your ass was worried more about the money too. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck all y'all motherfuckers. Fuck the Democrats. Fuck the Republicans.
Fuck them both. I 100% agree.
Then fuck caring about their fucking their whatever the fuck you call it when all these guys are competing to be the first loser.
Fuck their primary.
Fuck their primary.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think aliens actually visit other planets. That would be very risky. I think they're way too smart for that. I think if you're flying around the fucking
if you have the capability to fly around the galaxies or just to fly around space, like at will, to visit, you probably do understand that is way too risky.
Well, and
they can observe from far enough away as well to be like,
again, the technology it takes to have to even travel within a lifetime of anything is ridiculous, right? Because unless something evolved to live for, 140,000 years, then you're not going to see anything. Even if you fucking left our fucking solar system right now, you're not going to see nothing else for a while. The closest star is like 4.5 light years away.
Yeah.
Fuck. It's fucking hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah.
They might even be million years. It's like millions of years. Like we look at it like, oh yeah, it's the closest one, only 4.4 million light years away. Yeah. You're like, fuck, dude.
You're like, only 4.
Like, what the fuck? Like,
1 light year is something like, it has a distance.
Yeah, it's super fucking far.
It's like something like 500. I don't know if it's 500 million or 500,000 miles, but it's insanely far.
If the sun turned off right now, we wouldn't know for 7 minutes.
Like, isn't a light year defined?
How far the sun is.
Isn't a light year defined by how far you would travel in 1 year going at light speed?
Yeah.
Which light speed is something around, I think, like 6.7 billion meters per second or something like that.
Yeah, but we're in America. Let's speak in miles an hour.
I don't know what it is, miles an hour.
1 light
I think
year
it's like 180,000, 170,000 or something miles an hour.
I'll let you know that in a second, but 1 light year is 5.879 times 10 to the 12th power miles.
Holy buckets, times 10 to the 12th. So that's what, quadrillions? Quintillions?
How far is a light year in miles?
That's what you just said. Like 5.6 quintillion miles.
It's 5 with...
So how many miles a second then? It's like 180-something thousand miles a second. No, that's not right.
299 million meters per second.
What's up with miles?
299. Oh, so I was just off by a factor of 2-ish. But
it's about, in miles per hour, light speed is about 670,000 miles per hour.
670,000 miles per hour for a year continuously. And that's how far you travel. Yeah. And so if it's 4 of those away, so it would, if you were traveling at light speed,
millions of miles away.
And just so everyone knows, nothing we've ever been able to create can even get near light speed except for pretty much shoving particles together in the Hadron Collider. I think they get up there to light speed, but these are particles, and that's it.
It's true.
So far away. But if
Crazy.
they did have that technology to essentially travel fast enough or live long enough to survive,
Yeah, see, I don't know.
like
That's
galactic
not the way,
travel,
though. That's not the
it
way.
would have to go faster, right?
No, it's you either use wormholes or some kind of equivalent. There's no other way. You don't travel in the absence of space for however fast, for even if you're traveling at light speed. Say they were like, all right, you can't do light speed, but we can get you to 1% under light speed. So travel at that.
Take you a year and a couple months.
Well, we don't know what's out there in the black. That's what dark matter is, right? Like dark matter is all the shit that's pulling on us, that's just out there in the black that we can't see, and it looks like there's nothing out there. We don't know what's out there, and there could be a lot of debris. We have no fucking idea. I'll tell you right now, you hit something going light speed, everything's dead.
Done for.
Everything in that area. Like, however much energy can be expelled will be expelled at once. So that's a stupid way to travel. That's you'd have to spend so much time developing some kind of radar system that would be in front of your light speed. Like, that doesn't even make sense in the realm of physics. Like, you would need something to travel that much farther in front of you that fast. Radar, still going like this, are signals we send out, and those signals are traveling at light speed. And then we're receiving it. It looks instant to us, sure, but it's not actually instant. It's light speed. So if we're going that fucking fast already, like, how do you even get radar? You can't fucking see what's out in front of you like that, especially in the darkness of black. You'd need some kind of like gravity monitor that could monitor gravity at the fucking pebble size. Like, dude, flecks of paint have put huge ass chips and holes in the fucking space station.
And it goes about 18,000 miles an hour.
No, those are like 60, 70,000 miles an hour. But still, they're flecks of paint. They're dust. They're dust that are the size of the flecks of paint. That's what they're literally seen as. And you see the picture of it, and like, come on, dude, you can't fly out there like that. That's not the answer. The answer would have to be something else more clever. You'd have to.
I think it might be part of the answer, though, because I think part of the answer is getting up to light speed and what happens at light speed, because I don't think we really know what happens beyond that. That if
Sure, but see, I think it's warping space-time is still going to be your best bet. And then maybe you can't warp space-time, so maybe you got to use black holes. And maybe that's what they're used for. I don't know. You figure out how to travel through them. Not sure. Theoretically, you're not supposed to be able to, but there's a lot of. For a long time, they thought that
black holes weren't real, even.
Well, not only that, after that it was like agreed upon that black holes destroyed all information. That all the information for a black hole was gone. And then Stephen Hawking was like, no, well, shit just can't disappear. Like, it just doesn't go to nothing. It goes somewhere. So he theorized that after going like through the center, it all kind of like bubbles up back out and ends up on the information ends up on the surface of the black hole, which, if it's true, would emit a radiation, which is what they call Hawking radiation. And it's how Hawking radiation is, I believe, how we saw the first black hole when Homegirl took a picture of it last year or the year before. When she took a picture of the first black hole ever, she was taking a picture, I believe, and I might have this wrong, but I'm almost positive that she was taking a picture of the Hawking radiation, which confirmed
that it was like emanating off of like,
which confirmed that theory. Which he didn't get to see it, he died. But for a long time, everybody was like, "Nah, there's no way, dude. Math says it's all gone." And he's like, "Yeah, but math also says that nothing's all gone. That's stupid.
Yeah.
So you can't be all gone. It's got to go somewhere. Where would it go?" And now we know that it emits back to the edge and then radiates off.
well,
so
we theorize that that's what's happening. We do know it's emitting.
He theorized.
He theorized that, but I'm sure that's probably the best we got.
Well,
I'm sure there's other people who have theorized where the radiation is coming from or how it's happening with like the mass, because like just going in and being pushed to the edges.
but that's not what it was. They didn't find radiation and then he theorized it. They didn't find anything.
Right, he theorized the radiation and then confirmed that the radiation is there.
Well, the technology was available after he died. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. But what I'm saying is just the in between of how it goes from going into the black hole and then being turned into radiation. That's still a question mark, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, sure, everything that happens inside of a black hole is a question.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. But we know that there is a product that it emits, which is this Hawking radiation that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's got to come from somewhere. Because the same thing, the energy or the mass has to, the system is going to keep everything consistent. The mass has to go somewhere. The information, I think you called it,
is what it
has
is.
to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so, shit, I just lost my train of thought.
Well, anyways, that's where the aliens probably living.
Inside black holes.
Maybe. Why not?
Yeah, maybe they're just posted up in black holes and they're giving off radiation from whatever their energy source is.
Well, here's what I thought about. So Bob Lazar was on Joe Rogan's podcast that time, and he described UFOs flying in a manner where they didn't actually like as a disc. It didn't get up and then zoom around. It actually got up, and then when it went forward, it lifted bottom forward, bottom down like that, and went forward. And its propulsion, he said that its propulsion system was based on gravity. Mm-hmm. That there was some kind of device like in the bottom there, and it would actually warp space and time. So if you imagine a hole being in front of you, how you would be falling in that hole, it creates a hole in front of you and then moves the hole as you go, so you're constantly in that
gravitational
drag
yeah.
of that space and that hole in space and time. You're constantly in it, so you're being pulled in that direction.
I was confused when he was describing that. Was he saying that almost like gravitational wave surrounds the whole object, or is it just in front of it and it's just like kind of pulling it along?
No, so it's not pulling. You're falling. And that's the thing is it so you don't need the you don't have a propulsion system in a sense where something is propelling you forward. Right? There's nothing pulling it along. It's warping the fabric of space-time directly in front of the object. Mm-hmm. Which is making a hole or a dip in the space and time in front of it, which is greater than the Earth. Mm-hmm. The Earth is making a dip in space-time, which keeps us planted on top of it, which means if I drop this shit, it falls. It's not like falling. It's not being pulled down, right? It's falling into space-time. So it's just trying to be on space-time at all times, right? And so the bigger mass something has, the more gravity it pulls. Well, it's manipulating the fabric of space-time and creating a hole in front of it. So if you imagine, like, if I were to have like a trampoline in front of me and we were to put a ball right here, if I take my knuckle in front of it and push farther, it's going to fall in that hole. Mm-hmm. So if I take my knuckle and push farther and I go around in circles like that, it's going to follow in circles. It's going to follow my finger dip. But it's not being like propelled forward. It's falling forward. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So he's saying that that's how the UFOs would be propelled. I think that is a very ingenious and clever solution to two problems. One, traveling at light speed, because the thing is that an object can't travel faster or slower, right? But if the fabric of space-time in front of you is making you fall into it, inertia says that you will never feel it. We don't feel being on Earth. We don't feel spinning at fucking 16,000 miles an hour or whatever. Right. Like, we don't feel that. Once you're in a car and you get to 30 miles an hour and you let off the gas, you don't feel like you're being pulled forward or backwards or whatever. You're just the inertia. The state of being is is still, right? So
But
you wouldn't.
But that's acceleration, right?
Well, that's anything. So
that's the jerk you feel like when you go from 0 to 30. You feel acceleration when you get pushed forward or backward. But at 30 miles an hour, if you're consistent, you feel no force because the acceleration is zero.
But if the fabric of space-time is pulling the car in front of you, you don't feel pulled down into this space-time. The car's already going. You're with it. So you don't feel any of that. So if that were to move you at the speed of light, you would not feel the speed of light, which is one of the biggest problems about traveling the speed of light, is that it would take so fucking long to get to that speed. And if we found a way to get to that speed pretty quickly, we'd kill ourselves too fast. Fools have a hard time staying awake, just escaping the gravity of Earth. Mm-hmm. So going fast enough to escape the gravity of Earth makes most people pass out. So like trying to go faster than that, imagine
like hundreds of times faster.
It's going to have an effect on you that we can't even imagine, right? But if the fabric of space-time is warped in front of you, and so your vehicle is not propelled at that speed, it's falling at that speed, you're now basically in orbit around something that's not actually there, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what makes them able to move so fast, and then there would be no jerk stops, there'd be no nothing, right? Not only that, I have no idea how black holes work. But if I had to make my own theory, the Justin theory, I'd say that messing with the fabric of space-time would absolutely allow you to travel through a black hole.
So exciting.
Because as long as whatever you're doing, whatever it's doing to gravity, you would just have to be prepared to make it react some other way. And right now, of course, it seems like nothing could do that. But again, there's also nothing that theoretically would be able, or at least that we know of, that would be able to warp the fabric of space-time.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't put anything against technology and time.
Sure. It could happen. It could be figured out. We could find a molecule, or not a molecule, an element somewhere, a new element that might have some incredible gravity. In the comic books, I think that's called gravitonium, but some similar extremely dense material that we haven't found before, because we can travel some farther distance away from our planet, and then we might find something. Like, who knows
where?
Probably
got to make it.
But we got to know it exists to make it, or then it would be a creation if it wasn't.
Well, I think...
or if we could create a new element.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. And that, I think,
because elements are just made based off of a set of principles.
Yeah.
And that's and it's the way that nature has, unraveled that set of principles and how far it has gone in nature. But there's always taking it further.
Yep.
I mean, nature did not intend for human beings to create a Higgs boson.
Yeah.
But
and there's a lot of, I think, elements that are theoretical on the periodic table as well now, that they they theoretically should exist, but we've never been able to find them.
Well, and Bob Lazar talks about he talked about element 114.
Yeah, that's a theoretical one.
Well,
but he's saying it's real. Isn't he saying it is?
No, we've discovered 114 since. At the time when he said it, it was theoretical. But since we've made 114, it's just unstable. And he's talking about a stable version of the same chemical, which is now, that's what then they say. They're like, oh, well, he's talking about something that doesn't exist. Well, that's what you said fucking 30 years ago, too. And it literally didn't exist then, and then we made it.
Ding. Holy buckets. We're going to be ripping space-time.
That shit's crazy.
Yeah. Holy buckets.
That's the thing that really gets me on that dude is one, he seems to have no interest in being like famous about that particular subject, but not just that. He's an obviously smart dude, and he's just said too many things before that at the time, you know what I mean, meant nothing, and then now they're real things, or they come out and there's some kind of document surface that was just declassified, and then it proves something he said. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
and when I watched that or listened to that, it was just like, why would he lie? Like, I just couldn't figure out any kind of motive for why he would still be saying the same things after all, like, how much he, like, it seemed to ruin his life. And, like, I was just like, why would you keep this act up if he didn't truly believe this? And then I thought, well, maybe he could honestly 100% truly believe this and it still not be true, right? Like that's the point of where I can see it not being true, and he fully believes this. He's a really smart dude, but he's also gone through a lot, it seems like, through this, and who knows what effects that has had on his mental stability or just his, like, paranoia around this stuff. And, you know, the human mind is fucking amazing that it can create all these, like, stories and situations. And his also sounds like an amazing mind that has the capability of being able to really believe some shit that maybe isn't true. But fuck, that ain't no fun. I would much rather believe that he's fully,
again, it would be one thing if he was, like,
cognizant, aware, and, like, he's like, yeah, I don't really like this, but this is all my experience and what happened, and this is facts.
Well, it'd be different if like,
because why hasn't anybody else come to corroborate his story in a similar level of position? Fear, because that's the place that
maybe
I'm
they
like,
still work there,
But it's been a long time. Somebody should have quit, or maybe. But
well,
who knows? Like, that's the only hole in the story that I'm like, I wish we had someone else.
Okay,
like,
so a long time ago, he said that that's the way that they flew, right? He explained that this is the way that they worked and everything that way. The fucking Air Force commander, or what was it, Navy commander, one of the two, that Joe Rogan had about a month or so after Bob Lazar, he went in to talk about his Tic Tac pill UFO story because that's a declassified information now, and it was him and his people that saw it and chased it. And they, first of all, he said that they do this shit all the fucking time, that it's well documented, that they call them UADs, unidentified air something, or maybe UAFs or something like that, but it's not UFOs anymore. They call them something else because they need to be the military. They got to be more official about it, but they're fucking UFOs. And he said that same thing about the way they flew. He said that the one he looked at was not a disc. It was a tic-tac type thing. He's like, and it sat like this, but once it got to going, it went up first and then flew belly first. Whoa. Out. In all different ways, into the water, out of the water, and that they still fuck with the water all the time. And that there are two fucking there's like a whole section of the Navy in both San Diego and Myrtle Beach that the half of their job is knowing when they even try to plan and they try to schedule their shit around when these fucking things normally pop up so that they like, because not to chase them or anything, but so that they don't, to avoid them. And then they get shit all the time where they're like doing some kind of thing and they'll get like a thing, some kind of a warning, not necessarily a warning, but like a caution,
like a radio, just
like somebody letting them know, like, hey, keep an eye out. Radar just saw something funny. Don't hit nothing.
Whoa. I don't know. I the other part of me that wants it to be a story, not true, about all that is just I would be so upset if it is true and they're keeping that shit from us.
Why?
Because I want to know about that.
No,
I want to fly.
No, but that's
I want to go to space.
That's not the way governments work.
I know it's not, but that's my disappointment. Yeah, I want to know about it. If it's here, what could it be doing? If it was public
we don't understand it
or global information.
He said we don't understand it. He said when he worked on it, we were like 50 to 100 years away from understanding this technology.
Mm-hmm. But I know the United States it's scary to like give out that information, but if the world has the information instead of just our country,
because you can make weapons out of stuff.
Well, that's the fear part of it.
That's
I get the fear part of it, but also
nuclear science is basic science, but they don't in chemistry, but they don't have that shit listed on a website somewhere just because it's free and people should be able to. You're talking about something that would warp space and time.
Sure, but if we even can figure it out, and why
would we let somebody else figure it out?
I think they would have to work together like the rest of the scientific community does.
I think
on
that
things.
I think that governments have always kept shit to themselves.
I'm not disputing that.
That's why, but I think that's just the way humans are, and I don't think that it's a bad idea. I think it is a bad idea to let everybody know shit that they don't understand yet. I think it's a terrible idea. And I don't mean everybody like the public. Yeah, sure, the public. But because the public aren't affected besides, oh, that's cool or not.
Yeah.
That's all we're affected by. For the moment, until some fucking scientist in Russia cracks it. And then tells Putin and says, hey, I just cracked this thing. He's like, well, what can you do with it? Oh, no, but we can try by putting a fucking small little black hole in D.C., see what happens. Should we try it?
Let's
sure,
fucking do
fuck it.
You know that they wouldn't do DC
what do you
like
think? What do you think that you could do? Oh, you know what? We figured out how to do it, and we actually realized that not only does it work this way, but with a small tweak this way, it'll actually rip space and time, and you can throw shit in there.
Yeah.
Literally, just get rid of motherfuckers.
Right into the space-time rip.
Maybe Earth.
Maybe Earth. The whole Earth.
On accident.
Just toss it in.
No, but it's not about that. It's about we don't understand how that shit works.
I agree. But
so that's why you don't want it done that way.
You could talk about all kinds of shit that has the same implications you're talking about throughout the scientific community, where it is risky things that if once it's figured out, it might change some shit, but also could make some really great things happen. And
but that's not the way humans work, dude.
I mean, it's gonna have to be the way that we work soon. With like globally, we're going to have to make a difference.
Tell that to the other countries. You always say these things like everybody shares our morals.
How am I saying this to like just our country? I think every country has the responsibility that
but they don't have the same ethics and morals as us. So what do you say? What do you say to somebody like, I don't know, China? China does everything they can. They just hacked our shit. They hack our shit all the time.
And we hack their shit all the time,
but
too.
But you know why they're hacking our shit? It's different.
Why do you think they're hacking our shit?
I'm telling you exactly why. Do you know why they
hack our shit? You got a letter
from
the
steal
chairman?
Shit from us? No, because they hack shit, and a month later they have a new fucking F-35 fucking airplane. Some shit that we had that was not supposed to get out anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And now they got them, and so does everybody around them. They got the blueprints. Because they jacked it. Because that's what happens, because people aren't out to better the world. They don't care about the world. They care about themselves.
Right. That's our
so the more you sit on this high throne of like caring about the world and making that like how policy ends up is the quicker you're handing shit over to people who only care about themselves. If anything, if you care about the world, it's more important that more people don't find that shit. Because if you care about the world, then you don't want that shit to get out. Or you let it out and you let the selfish motherfuckers run with it. It only takes one.
We are one of the selfish motherfuckers. We are absolutely one of the selfish motherfuckers.
I say keep it a secret. Don't tell nobody. The last thing I want is Russia or China or fucking any other scientist that's working for a government that calls quote unquote anybody else the enemy. I don't want anybody like that, including our scientists. But we haven't figured it out, obviously.
So we should send it to Switzerland?
No, I don't think we should send it anywhere. I say you fucking hold on to it and don't touch it until motherfuckers realize how to act. That people need to learn how to act first before you can have these types of technologies. And right now we're already learning what happens when you have technology and you don't know how to act.
But that's what I'm saying. Switzerland is a neutral country.
That doesn't mean that they'll always be a neutral country. That doesn't mean that they're not small as fuck and they have one of the weakest armies on planet Earth.
Fucking good knives, though.
Fucking good knives, my ass. They're 30 steps away from Russia. Putin will walk over there in a fucking shirtless on a horse. Get off his horse, walk right in there, grab the USB port, and walk away. And when nobody do nothing about it.
Nope.
Fucking give it to Switzerland. The fuck? I don't think anybody should have it. I don't give it to nobody. But you know what?
See, at that point, if no one should have it, then I think you would have to say, but since someone does, everyone has to have it.
No, that's stupid.
No, it makes sense, because if no one should have it, then no one should have it. But if somebody already does,
that's a goofy way of thinking about things. It's a
goofy way of thinking about it is saying that
too. Everybody deserves to get this. No, not everybody deserves everything. Some motherfuckers if you deserve to look at it if you've qualified yourself to look at it. And that takes a lot of fucking
Who's
time and
deciding the
education.
qualifications?
Motherfuckers who understand it.
Like, are you talking about scientists? Because from the beginning, what I'm talking about is that the scientific community does work together across borders. Like the International
always
Space
true.
Station is
What
a good
about
example.
nuclear weapons?
Sure,
What about the hydrogen bomb?
sure.
We did not invent that. A German did.
A German did. And we still had to perfect it and turn it into a bomb, didn't we?
We had to convince him to come here first. Because he was still in Germany.
So to my point,
I'm just saying that if Germany would have got to him first.
but what makes us special that we should have it? Is there a reason? Because we found it?
No, what I'm saying is that
Finders
look what
keepers.
happens when somebody gets it, right? So, what if somebody figured it out and kept it to themselves? That's the way it should be.
It should just be a secret?
Yeah, why not? Why does everybody need to know everything?
I don't think everyone needs to know everything, but I think when you're working on a problem that could have huge implications, good and bad, working together is a better solution, will create results faster, and you have more resources at
What
that
if
point
results
as well.
are the bad is what you're trying to avoid?
Are the only results are just bad and negative?
Maybe.
I mean, when the atomic bomb was
Maybe
developed,
there's
that
one
was the
good
case.
maybe there's one good result from this thing and 50 bad ones.
Most likely there is. It just depends on the utility of that one good result. How
So
good
you
it
would
is.
like to, and so you would like to provide this information so you have sole control of this information that you know would be detrimental, most likely, to everybody in the neighborhood. You're telling me that because you know it, everybody in the neighborhood should also know.
If it was detrimental to the neighborhood and I knew, so the information I know, if they knew it would be a detriment to them, or
No, they could
it's
use
going to
it.
be a detriment to them no matter what.
Well, no, it's going
I
to be a
just know about
detriment
it or
because
not.
somebody's going to use it the wrong way.
So the fear of somebody using it incorrectly should outweigh the possibility of people using it for good.
When you're talking about a hammer, no. When you're talking about a fucking hole in space-time, yes.
So there's a qualification here for
Absolutely.
the type of
there are always
information
nuances.
there is.
There's
Absolutely.
There's always going to be different.
I don't think the point of view of operating always from, ooh, but what if somebody fucks with it but we don't even know what it can do yet. And it could solve fucking global warming if we could come together and work on it, and maybe that is the
doesn't need
answer.
solving.
I'm not saying, what do you mean it doesn't need solving?
doesn't need solving. Solved already. We just
Plan
don't
it's done
want
for?
don't want to no. The answer's already thought out. Like, we don't need to solve that problem. We've already figured out the answer. Lower carbon emissions, lower fucking agriculture emissions, and do something about waste. If we conquered those, which we know we can do, we just need the money. We don't have the money. That's not the solution. The solution is there. We just don't have money to pay for it. And to get the money to pay for it, you have to convince the people with money. And the people with money are too busy trying to make money than spend money on things that they don't see as viable profits. That's the problem there. But we don't have a problem with global warming in the sense that we need to solve it. Like, we don't know what to do. We know exactly what to do. It's not hard. So what are you gonna solve with that thing? You're gonna make money off of it so that we can solve global warming, because that's all we need to solve it. Just need money.
I think it's more nuanced than that, Justin.
No way.
No way.
Need money.
I mean, you need money to do any of this, and countries
money,
coming
and
together
money's what's running it
will-
now. The only reason we're burning so much and the reason it's not going away is because it makes so much money. You find something that makes more money, they'll do that instead. Bet. Every business is the same.
So if we could find this energy source and it could power the world in a great way, but it also, like,
If it didn't make no money, nothing.
like nuclear, could destroy the world. Can power things, could destroy the world, and there's lots of costs.
Nuclear
to
won't destroy the world. Nuclear
Hold
will
up.
destroy its area.
So it solves the like nuclear, and you said nuclear.
Oh, it doesn't. It
just-
doesn't destroy the planet.
No, I'm saying it could. Like you could
No.
send nuclear bombs across the globe, and it would destroy the planet eventually, and pretty quickly.
Sure, you could. Well, it doesn't destroy the planet though. The planet does its thing. That's different. What it destroys is civilization. What you mean is the planet as we understand it, with cities and people and living and stuff. But I'll tell you, the planet has been hit by comets that did way more damage than any nukes we could ever do right now. That we could detonate all the nukes on the planet right now, and it wouldn't equivalent to the comet that hit the dinosaurs. So that didn't destroy the planet. Life didn't go away. It evolved and
sure, but I think you're divulging from the point that I'm trying to make.
No, what I'm saying is that you wouldn't kill the planet.
Sure,
That's what I'm saying.
which is not the point that I'm trying to make at all about killing. But my point is that nuclear power has good and bad things have come from the atomic bomb discovery and like the understanding, and from that terrible thing that only the United States had at that point, and then the only the United States had at that point.
Well, Russia figured it out right away. So did Germany.
Right, and they got it figured out, which happened pretty quickly. You said between when the United States had it figured out to when Russia had it figured out.
Pretty quickly, yeah. I mean, we all used it to send people to space.
Yeah, and so it has all these good implications and bad implications. And as soon as one person comes public with it, it generally comes. Everyone else just figures it out. Then at that point,
that's not true. No.
It happened but it did happen with nuclear. They figured it out pretty quick.
Well, the thing is they had scientists that were working together that got split into different ways, went different directions. But they all had the same basis initially. So nuclear power and then rocketry at the same time, both of those things led to nuclear power, right? Using it as a power source. But power source came after they made it for weapons.
Right. And I'm not disputing that.
Okay, do you know why they made it for weapons first?
Because it was the most useful at the time.
Because it was the best use of money.
The best use of money was to use it as a weapon.
Well, that's still what they use a bunch of money for now.
Yeah.
There's no problem using it for money or using money for weapons now. Why? Because the bigger your weapon, the more money you can get. The more money you can take from other places. This stuff isn't hard. This is all just gangster stuff that people have been doing their whole life for the entirety of human civilization. So why would it change all of a sudden? You're telling me that maybe they could make some kind of thing to power the world. But you know what it would take to power the world with something like that? It would take for them to make the weapons that would destroy the solar system first.
Death Stars.
And then through that, by putting their money into that technology, then you'll get a guy that says, hey, you know what? If we turn the switch off when we plug it into itself, it'll just power us. Well, yeah, cool.
Is the sacrifice worth it then?
No. Why? So that we can be more comfortable? Get the fuck out of here.
I don't think
That's
we
goofy.
would be involved. I think that would be...
I'm talking about we as human beings. To sacrifice life at all so that some civilization can live with the lights on whenever they want. When we evolved for hundreds of thousands of years and electricity only started being harbored within the last 100 years or so. 150 years. You're talking about something that's 150 years old as far as the entirety of human civilization is concerned, or human existence is more important. Like the evolving of that technology at the risk of entire, literally planet annihilation. Because somebody wants power where they don't have it.
Because somebody wants power where they don't have it. But I mean, if it, like I said, I don't know. I mean, I feel like you're moving away from the argument so much.
I feel like if you put money into harboring the sun's energy, we could do the exact same thing without fucking without trying to destroy the planet first. The problem is there's no money in that because there's no weapon to make there. And there's no money to make. The sun's free.
I do.
So
think
nobody's putting money into the technology to do that. But that right now is a solvable.
Right.
That's a solvable equation. That's way more efficient and way better of an idea than trying to figure out most likely detrimental technology.
Sure. All right. I want to wrap this up because we've gotten so far off from the original point of just sharing information
I'm just saying,
or not.
Nah, it shouldn't.
Well,
not
I mean,
everything should be shared. I don't agree.
I hear you. I still disagree. I think that information should be available because I'm not afraid of the. I mean, not that I'm not afraid, but I'm just as afraid of us having it than any other country. And when they might even have it figured out now. Who the fuck knows? We don't know because they're not saying any shit about it because it's a secret. And it could be figured out now and they're just waiting to unleash that shit on some other fucking country or something that might end up doing some horrible thing to them. But the possibility of other people having it, just like nuclear war is now, if some other people have it, at least then there's like some kind of barrier that it's like, all right, well, we're not the only ones, so other people can use this. And so in the safety of fear of everyone else, that feels more comfortable, at least than right now, where it's like, who the fuck knows what's going on with this shit? We don't know where this technology or information is going or is because it is a secret, and the only people who have control over it is us. But then again, who's to say that China and other places don't already have the same thing in their own secret programs?
Sure. Yeah, no doubt.
Our area of the world could not be special at all.
I'm just saying, you don't think so you think that like secrets among the government of any governments right now are bad ideas?
No.
So where does that limit come to?
I think there is probably some line you can draw with like its implications around safety and the whole. Like the whole world is involved. But I think there's like lots of government ins and outs of things that they're secrets that they have for lots of reasons. But I do think they keep a lot of things that should be public secret that they don't want to admit to.
What do you think that like
I don't think we should get into all that. Nor do I have I don't have my list on me right now, nor am I keep a list of 100 things that I think the United States should declassify, but I forgot it at home.
I mean, I would never say that I think something should be declassified unless I knew something specific that I thought, hey, you know what? I've learned a little bit about this, and there's a little bit of funny stuff there that should be declassified. The things I know that are classified that, there's like some JFK shit that's probably classified that I don't think you should declassify that. Keep that shit a secret.
JFK?
Yeah, there's like some JFK stuff that they don't like.
Like the assassination stuff?
Yeah, there's just stuff around like different investigations around different things that I think people think they just want to know just because they want to know, but they would have like, I don't know, waves bigger than they expect. I think it's better to keep kind of shit secret. And I'm not saying that they should keep everything secret or anything, but I mean, especially when it comes to military technology. I mean, when it comes to military technology, I can only hope that the people in charge understand it better than me.
Sure.
So I don't need my opinion taken to the dude who's building a bridge. I trust that the bridge maker will make a bridge that doesn't fall before I drive on it. And that's the trust I give in that professional, being that that's what he decided to do with his life. And since the military has not used any nuclear weapons or any kind of weapons like that since fucking 1943, I'd like to assume that those professionals understand these things better than me. Yeah. And that they've got a handle on stuff, and that if they say there's a couple things that everybody probably shouldn't know, I'm just going to go with, man, you know what? The professional says that. Now, if there's some reason for me to suspect otherwise, again, there's specific situations you get like information, come across information, you're like, maybe that's different. But I would never just go out and say it blankly. Like, I think the government will keep some secrets that they shouldn't. I'm like, I don't know. I can't think of anything right now that a secret that the government keeps that they
shouldn't keep. I don't think you can.
Keep.
It's a secret.
Sure, but we only know of secrets that are talked about.
Right. But if they're... I mean, they would just be admitting to things at that point, right? And I'm not disagreeing that the government shouldn't withhold information from the public. I just think that they do hold on to too much information to the public.
All right. See, I like the way you worded that better. I guess that was
you
my
know,
problem
like
with
there's got to be stuff that you hold back for so many reasons, but also like you said earlier, a lot of this stuff becomes a moot point when we know that China and Russia and ourselves are all just spying and, you know, hacking each other and looking at all the information anyway, and don't really need to. They don't need to come to our military and take over anything to find the information that we're researching that our public probably doesn't even know about. They're probably getting to the information just like we're getting to their information, and you know, it's all they already know anyway, you know, and who the fuck knows what they'll do with
They don't
it.
necessarily know, though.
I mean, they probably don't know everything. I'm sure there is some levels of security in every one of these countries that is still legitimate national secrets, right? That stay within the national governance of whoever is running that country, or I guess keeping the secrets. I'm sure.
What do you think the UFO secret's about before we get out of here?
What do I think the secrets are?
Yeah.
Like,
because they always talk about that. I feel like presidents always say stuff like they'll mention it, and I know that there's been presidents in the past that have like said that they would declassify aliens and stuff, or like they wouldn't say it, like they won't actually come out and say it, but they'll like mention to it, and then like Bernie Sanders on Joe Rogan,
I saw that
at the end he's just saying it more in jest, but he was just saying it like, if there's something there, I'll declassify, you know. But a lot of them have like alluded to that. We're talking about since like the 70s and 60s, have alluded to those types of things since like Roswell. And then when they do get there, everybody goes silent about it. Always. What do you think that's about?
What do I think their secrecy around the possibility of aliens are? I mean, my first instinct, which I think is kind of how I've always kind of just let it be, is that they don't want to come out as truth. They don't want to give it any attention when it comes real, beyond any kind of like jesting measures of being like, oh yeah, well, you know, just to play into the narrative that has been around for the last 50 years since pretty much space was on America's mind, and that they want to keep it like a joke, and then after that it just like rather not say anything more for it or against it.
What kind of thing do you think, well, like what kind of story would you have to be told to be convinced not to talk about aliens?
Oh shit, to not.
Yeah, because there's got to be some presidents that are like interested in that shit and thought it was tight, and then wanted to say something, tried to find out, and then either couldn't find out or found out something and got told a funny story, and we're like, all right, you know what, maybe not. What kind of story you think you'd have to be told to be like, you know what, maybe? I try to think about that sometimes, and I'm like,
I would have to be told a pretty convincing story that would have to blow my perspective, that it would have to like affect me so much that I'm like, holy shit, I did not realize that there was that they were communicating with us, telling us that if we let their secret out, they will, you know, do X, Y, and Z. Like if I found out some shit like that, some like real earth shattering shit in my world, that would probably convince me to keep a secret. Like if there was some kind of communication with aliens that they didn't want to tell me about, tell the public about.
What if they were like, we took some dude at Roswell. Roswell was a real thing. And there was a dude, he was alive. We took his ass. And then he died shortly after. But then they came to us almost immediately. And we're like, hey, y'all fucked up. We'll keep in touch, but you're pretty, you know, in 100 of your years from today, it's over for you. We'll be back.
And you're saying these are some unearthly creatures.
Yeah. And then boom, bounced. What if you found out that's what the fuck happened?
And that we're just marching towards that day as a society, trying to keep it together until then?
Yeah. And be like, look, dude, and so we have their shit. We've been trying to reverse engineer it. Speaking of going across, we've already got everybody else's secret governments. Everybody's been trying to get hold of this
together.
Shit.
We've been trying for years.
Can't nobody figure this shit out, but we need to hurry the fuck up and figure something out with this before they get here, or else, you know what I'm saying, in 2051 or whenever the fuck Roswell was. Whew. Done dotted. But that's why you can't tell nobody. So next time they ask, joke it off and run away.
Huh.
What if that's what the Men in Black are?
Getting ready for the invasion of 1957 or 2057?
Crazy. And then the aliens are like all on Facebook trying to make us hate each other.
It's not Russia. It's actually aliens.
Proxying
through Russia to actually hack the United States.
Yeah,
And
trying to split the world up. trying to make sure we don't figure out the technology to stop them in 30 years.
Before
Damn, boy, just done blew my mind, boy. I think we're done here.
I think
What
we are.
VPN do you guys think the aliens are using? I think they're using NordVPN, today's sponsor.
Thanks, Nord, for all your content. Today is also sponsored by Michael's Moped Service, serving the Denver metro area for all your moped needs.
Michaels.
And also Dandy Dance, because fuck the polls.
That's it. The only polls we support are the stripper polls. Shout out to all your local sex workers
Let us know what
and dancers.
Yes. Let us know in the comments what you think. What story you would have to hear to not tell anybody shit about aliens. I think there's a one-eyed flying purple people eater somewhere out there, but we'll figure it out.
What if there was, and that's what it was? Or like, hey, we don't really freak anybody out, but you know Halley's Comet? Well, there's a big fucking dragon thing that lives on there, and it keeps looking at us every time it goes. And next year it's gonna be, or next time it comes, it's gonna be close enough, and that motherfucker might come over here and eat us all.
Yeah.
And we don't know what to do about it.
We're a little bit scared. Yikes. That would be... And I would be the president? Whew. That'd be tight. But...
If you were the president, you'd want to be president?
No.
That'd be terrible. What a whack-ass job.
But it would be worth president to get to know those secrets, I think. I don't want to do all the other president stuff, but I would like to know what's going on with all that.
You just want to know secrets? Is that like the big thing?
Well, if I was going to be president, that's what I would be excited about. I would not be excited about a lot of other things. Like being
I bet it'd be a
president.
while until you even learn any secrets.
Yeah,
They'd be like, well, you got stuff to do.
And I'd be like, no, I worked on this campaign for so long. Like, I deserve to know them
I
now.
ran on aliens, you fuck.
Yeah.
You tell me right now what the fuck is going on in Area 51.
My vice president Snowden right here. We need the information. Give it to the people.
That boy has all the information. That's why they got him. He knows. That boy is an alien. He might be. You ever seen
You
his
can't
ass?
be saying that shit until I'm president, Justin. You can't be letting the secrets out.
Oh, that he's an alien? He might be an alien, yeah.
Could be.
I think Steve's an alien, to be honest.
Shit, I've thought about that too, but if you were an alien, do you think you would know?
Do I think I would know I was an alien? Yeah, for sure.
You think? Doesn't Lil Wayne think he's an alien? He likes to rap about
He
being
might
an
be.
alien. He seems like if anybody's an alien, Lil Wayne would make sense as an alien.
He looks like a grandma.
Don't give him water after midnight.
Yeah.
Or I guess he's just had
Fuck
way
right.
too much water after midnight.
Yeah, that's where Drake came from. All right, later, y'all.